The Quran teaches us to say the truth even if it goes against ourselves or close kin. That's what the text of the Quran says. And in the Muslim countries and Muslim individuals, Muslim groups do not always demonstrate the true teaching of Islam in their behavior. They carry part of the responsibility. But we should not say Islam did that. So the mix-up. I think the classic example of that is on the issue of so-called terrorism, which is a very loosely undefined term. The self-serving term when you talk about terrorism does not include governments, no, God forbid, but individual and small radical groups and so on. And we're not getting to that definition. If you ask me, I'll give you my definition for it. But that's not the issue. The issue here is that whenever a Jew, for example, like that doctor, the occupier who killed so many Palestinians, nobody says a Judaic terrorist committed that act. It's no question it's an act of terror. Nobody said that. When Timothy McVeigh committed his terrorist act that killed babies even in Oklahoma, 168 people, nobody said that, this Christian terrorism, a Christian terrorist exploded the Mora building in Oklahoma City. Nobody ever asked what his religion is. Nobody ever went to look around of people who look like him. White, typical American, WASP, who's in order to persecute them and generalize over them. How many times have you heard and seen in papers, in books, the expression Islamic? First of all, it was terrorist. At one point or stage, it was Palestinian terrorist. Then it became Arab terrorist. Then it became Muslim terrorist. Then it became Islamic terrorist. Just like saying Islamic prayer, Islamic fasting, Islamic charity, Islamic terrorism. The word Islamic here is something that is based on Islam. Selectively, it is used for Islam. We know, of course, the explosion that was done at the Indian flight, Air India flight. Nobody ever said Sikhism is terrorist. At least they say Sikh because he's identified, but nobody said that this Sikhism is terrorist. So Islam has been selectively given that grand prize of being connected with terrorism. This is the second observation. I'm not talking again to emphasize about restricting the freedom of expression of the media, but responsibility, fairness, and honor in the way news are reported or spun to give a particular impression, riding the wave of prejudice. And after all, as one specialist in the media told me, he said, media, after all, is a business. And to run the business, you have to attract people. So that's why you get this notion of breaking news. You see that all the time, breaking news. Sometimes it could be an important thing, sometimes it could be a trivial thing. Any incident that used to pass. But by breaking news means that you have to sit glued to your television set. And you know there are electronic ways where they can measure and report certain independent organization about viewership. And viewership means money. Imagine trying to advertise something in the newsletter of the CIA versus the CNN. The price would go from a few cents, maybe, or sometimes free, okay, to, hundreds of thousands of dollars for 30 seconds, sometimes more than it could be $500,000 for 30 seconds. So in order to promote that media and make more money, you have to deal with the sensation. And that attitude results oftentimes in riding the wave of prejudice rather than playing the responsible, honorable role that media should play by reporting fairly, presenting both sides, doing some research, analysis, so that people can understand the background of what is going on. But background, God forbid. You tell me of any media that present any news about what's happening to the Palestinian people, but give the background that they have been persecuted, that the land has been occupied, that they have been constantly deprived out of the rights, sometimes because of the emergence of alternative media like internet. You find sometimes big outlets have been forced somehow to give a little bit on the other side. But giving the background, no. The background is always Israel killed 10 people or 12 people in Gaza. Oh, but that was retaliation of being trained by Al-Qassam missiles. Qassam missiles. Qassam missiles. This the big, huge, destructive weapon. This is the background. So this is the kind of twist that we see around. A third point, and inshallah I try to finish after that. I know some of you might got enough now to get warmed up to start shooting questions. The thing that we need to make clear to people, that there are some distorted expressions or notions that a lot of people hold because of the media propagation. If you ask a sample of the public, just draw a line between a number of things. One of them is Islam, and suppose you get a list including honor killing. So you write honor killing and put Islam, Judaism, Christianity, Hinduism, Sikhism, and so on. Where would the line be drawn? Honor killing. It's Islamic, isn't it? Just like terrorism, it's Islamic. Islamic murder, Islamic terrorism, Islamic honor killing. I was talking to Zayed the other way, and he liked that, so there's no copyright now for that. When people say honor killing, I say no. It is dishonorable murder. The term honor killing. Even if you don't use the term Islam for it. Honor killing should be called dishonorable murder. Period. Reason one, the ayah in the Quran is clear. You kill a soul, a single soul, like killing the whole of humanity. Second, suppose the person you're killing has done something wrong. It is not your right. It is not your right to apply criminal law by yourself. Thirdly, criminal punishment. Even in a Muslim country, you're not required to apply criminal punishment in non-Islamic society. And you cannot say, no, but I live my life, I live my religion. Yes, you live. You live what you can, not things that you're not required to do. And the ayah in the Quran is clear. فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُمْ. Fear Allah, be conscious of Allah, as best as you can. And we cannot apply criminal punishment here. It's unlawful, it's not right, you're not required to. But even if you're living in a Muslim country, it is not up to the individual. Number one, it is the authorities, the recognized authorities that apply. Second, authorities cannot apply arbitrary in a fit of rage. And you all know that even if a person, male or female, committed fornication, I'm not talking about adultery, fornication, it is not a death penalty. Number two. Three, so it has to follow the law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not just to get revenge and say some ideas that I'd like to eradicate evil from society by having whatever punishment. That's why it's called hudud. There are limits. We should not fail to apply them if you have an Islamic authority. But again, you don't trespass it. And it's only applied to certain areas. Thirdly, even in criminal punishment in Islam, it has to be through due process and before a competent Islamic court of law. In fact, there are many instances and examples. I don't know whether I should detail that now or not, but after the case of the Nigerian girl known as Magazu, you probably heard of her case, where she claimed that her father forced her to be raped by his friends because he owed money to them or whatever. And they said you get double punishment because you're slandering. That this sort of attitude seemed to overlook many aspects of criminal law in Islam that many people are not aware of. And subhanAllah, even people in judicial system who should know better seem to ignore it at times.